structural, geotech, mechanical, electrical. These are the engineering specialists we have had here at Holy Spirit over this past year. Our church buildings have been teeming with engineers as we make preparations to get our facility ready for the next 70 years as a parish. We are up to a most noble task. Thank you for joining me in these efforts. Let's go into more depth about the school rebuild and HVAC replacement.
So this has kind of been on the radar for a couple of years, and now just last fall they kind of decided that now is the time we're going to move forward and look at bringing heating and cooling and plumbing and everything just kind of up to date. The system is made of components from the 50s, 60s up to the 90s, and it's kind of a hodgepodge that's all working together. Certain things are failing, certain things aren't working as well as they should, so this is just kind of bring everything up to date. Buildings like this, there's a lot of them around where they start. You know, it started with a school in 1952, and then they added on to the school in 56, and then they added on the church in 62. And there's just been so much work all kind of tying together, and this is just a good chance, because major components are failing, that this is a good chance to go through it, get everything all working together as one system. So I would say that this project is similar to many in this area in this core system that we're using. So the core system has a boiler plant and a chiller plant, and then we run hot water and cold water throughout the spaces, and then each zone or space or classroom or office can use that heating and cooling so that they all have their own temperature control. That's a tried and true system. It's also unique in that we're putting in provisions that this can go geothermal. So all the new equipment that's going in can operate on a geothermal system. So if in the near future they want to get away from gas, they want to start using the geothermal as heat, it'll basically just connect to everything that's going in place right now. Everything is sized and in place so that that could be added pretty much seamlessly in the future. So to find the source of the problem and repair it is very difficult. But it's important to not look at this as just a boiler replacement, because that is the obvious question. How can it cost this much money to replace 2 boilers? Well, we aren't just replacing the boilers, we're upgrading the entire system. We're replacing the pumps so we can slow those pumps down and run those at higher efficiency. We're replacing, like we talked about, the controls. All of this, it is an all-inclusive project that will bring this entire building basically up to one unified system that really shouldn't have to be touched for 25 to 30 years.
That's getting replaced along with all the ventilation equipment. Some of that is getting replaced because it's old and needs to be replaced. So part of that work there entails some reconstruction, some new ceilings because of the new piping and new duct work. We have to, in some areas where we're doing that, we're going to put new lighting in those areas. So people will see some impact on hallways and a few other areas with new ceilings, new lighting, things like that. So it was around, budget-wise, about $3 million, so it's a pretty good-sized project. On the school side, I know everyone's heard about the school, kind of the structural collapse of the hallways. That has already started, that work started this summer, the reconstruction of it. But once the plumbing contractors got in there and started redoing the piping in the hallway, the piping is connected to the main banks, the 2 main banks of bathrooms on the north and the south end. And they got in there and they found that the pipes were old cast iron pipes and they're rusting. They're from 1950s, 1952. So they're old and they were crumbling and started to fall apart when they started trying to attach new pipes to them. And then they ran scopes through it, scoped it, and discovered that the pipes are rusted out and leaking. So basically all the support piping in the wall, kind of the chase between the 2 boys and girls bathrooms, had to be taken out and replaced. The main hallway in the school is getting reconstructed with new floors, new fill underneath it, new walls. So on top of that, we kind of got into the classrooms a little bit, so there'll be new finishes. We thought, since we're in there doing all this work, let's put some new wall finishes in all the classrooms. There's new ceilings in the classrooms, new lighting in all the classrooms and offices. So basically, when people come back to school, the school will look like a brand new school on the inside. It'll look quite a bit different than it looked in the past, because there'll be all new finishes in the hallways and on the walls. So it will look kind of like a brand new modern school. The other thing we included with the school project, since we were doing all this work, we upgraded all the security because we had to put new doors on all the new classrooms. The school's going to be set up like a completely state-of-the-art security in the school.
It has most certainly been an adventure. I have learned a lot about all kinds of things, maybe more than I would want. Actually, I have enjoyed this opportunity to work with people of superb expertise and experience, and to be part of something very significant for our parish. This is truly a project we are doing as a parish family, and when it's all done, there will be plenty of reason to be proud. Whether they will remember our contributions in 20, 50, or 70 years, I don't know. But we know, and God knows.